Hi everyone, my name is Leah Hatzi Black and I'm currently a faculty member at the Richmond Music School as a piano teacher, and I'm also a student at Simon Fraser University studying music composition. So I had recently released an album this summer titled Girl in the Blue Dress, and essentially it was a collection of piano compositions that I had composed over the past couple of years, and I finally put it all together and I had it professionally recorded, and I had help with a producer to get a record label and get my work out there. So I'm here today to teach you how to write an album and how to write a piece of music, whether that be on a guitar or a piano. It doesn't matter which instrument you play. It doesn't matter if you're just an artist and you want to create illustrations even for an album. I'm here to teach you the process and share my experience as a musician and composer navigating the music world. So yeah, I believe through passion and hard work and dedication anyone can do this. And so I'll be discussing the recording aspects, so you don't even need to be in a professional studio to record your work. You can be at home with an iPhone or a little cheap microphone. Like, you don't really need much. Like, I'm in my bedroom here, and this is where a lot of my compositions were created, and a lot of my inspirations came in this very room. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Hi everyone. So before we get started on writing any music, I just want to clarify what an album even is. So an album is a collection of a musician's musical works in the form of audio that is usually issued on compact disc, vinyl, cassette, or tapes, or any other medium such as digital distribution, including Spotify or Apple Music. So yes, right here I have my CD of my work, which I'll get into later in the video of how I created the artwork and everything. But as you can see, this is a CD. Not much music is released on CDs nowadays, and cassettes and vinyl, although vinyl is starting to come back in, more popularity thing. And this is a cassette here. So I essentially decided to create a physical copy of my work for people who want access to the artwork and, you know, the whole vibes of analog and old-fashioned kind of stuff. But I also released my work on YouTube and Bandcamp, and there are certain rules on how to release for Spotify and Apple Music and those bigger music listening online platforms. It's a little bit more tricky though. For me, I tried to go as simple as I can and then also as creative as I can, so I did something physical. Now, alright, now we're at the piano. So when I began my project, I did not have the intent of an album as my end goal. I just enjoyed playing the piano and creating pieces through improvisation and having fun with other artist collaborations organized through my school. I eventually gathered enough songs to finally feel motivated to put them all together as one big album. With that being said, let's start with one of the first songs that I had composed, featured in my album. So this song is titled Ellipses, and I'd like to play the intro and a little bit of the first theme of my song, and I will describe how I came about creating this work. So I'll play a little bit for you. If you'd like to check out the full song, you can go check out my work. I will link the links to my work in the description of this video. Alright, anyways, let's get into the song. So, how did I compose this in the first place? So, what I'd like to start with is basically all songs when it comes to music are based off of very, very simple chords. So, when I think about composition, I don't necessarily think about fancy notes, right? Mind you, I have 16 years of experience. But as a piano teacher, as I teach my students, you don't need a lot. So let's start with the main chords. These are the 3 main chords I discovered. So basically it was built off of one chord here, F sharp minor. Sounds nice. You don't need to think about it as F sharp minor. Just know that these 3 notes, third apart, sound very pretty together. And then add the top with that one note, sounds very nice. And I kept playing with this one chord over and over again. And then breaking it up in solid form. And then I take it down, and I've tried to look for another chord that went with the first chord I played, and I discovered this chord. And if you notice, I'm not playing it completely solid, I'm breaking it up, and then the next chord. So these are just very, very simple chords. If I take away the top note and just play the 3 chords here, right? Very simple. And then that's the main intro. And then I take octaves of it and I bring it up. And so basically what I did is I just messed around on the piano. I did not think about chord structures very specifically, even though I'm naming F sharp minor, you know, E major 7, all these fancy chord names. I discovered those names after. What I usually do is I focus first on playing around. Just playing on the piano. If it sounds good, if you like it, if you like the melody, keep playing, keep exploring, and you keep practicing and trying to memorize and remember what you were playing, and then you start creating a song. So I'm only using the 3 bottom chords, and I can go up and down with them. And then I'm using the top notes here and just playing them going up, going down, but playing with really the same notes that sound really well with the chord. And then when I get into the theme, it's built off of F sharp minor, C sharp, E, and F sharp. And then I take these, and then back and forth. Back and forth. And then I add another note. So I discovered that this sounds good. I like the theme. I like it going up and down. So essentially what I recommend to someone who's starting out, who does not have a lot of piano experience, start with a simple chord. Let's take C major, for example. Very different now. And just remember that these notes you see right here that I'm pressing, if I press them higher up, I'm taking this note, bringing it up, an E, bring it up again, maybe take this G, bring it up, you know, keep the left hand continuous. I can do that if I want to. Let's change it to another chord because it sounds boring. We want to add some more to it. Let's go to A, which is third down from C. C. I'm doing with the right hand, I'm just playing those notes I see on the bottom that my left hand's playing, and I'm bringing them on the top. That's all I'm doing. And once you figure out a chord you like, usually C, you can go count to the 5th of this root note here, C, and go to G and make a chord from there, bring it down. There's a simple chord progression. So C major, G major, A minor, and then back to A and C, G major again. So that's literally how anyone can write a song. You just need simple chords, and what you do is you take the notes from your left hand. Your left hand will guide you, and you play them on the top. And you play them and you back and forth, play them in different orders. It makes it more interesting. And you don't just stay with one chord. You can go to different chords. And if they sound good together, keep exploring, keep playing around. That is the power of music. You can essentially create beautiful melodies out of such simple structures just by simply playing around. Alright, let's get into the next part. Alright, next it's time to record your work. So once you've written all your songs and you've got a nice collection of works that you want to put together, it's time to record them. So in this part, I would suggest you practice your songs a lot until you get confident. Because in all honesty, when you start recording, you're going to get nervous and you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have to keep re-recording if you want to get a nice single clean take for the first round, no mistakes. There are ways to work around, like if you do make a mistake during the recording, you can record certain sections, but you just got to put your music, those different sections together where it flows as one song. So that's difficult. So basically with that kind of stuff, like these, if you want really special recording, like clear audio, very professionally done, if you want someone to help you with that splicing of audio and correcting mistakes, I would recommend getting a working with an audio engineer and a recorder at a recording studio. So for my album, basically, I worked with Blue Light Studios, which is a recording company, and they work with many artists and musicians, and they help record works, they help produce albums. So I specifically worked with Nicholas Cherrick, and he was my audio engineer, and he mastered my work as well. So what does that mean? So basically, he edited my work, he recorded a live piano, and he set up the mics and in the studio to get a very clear recording. Now, if you're at home and you're like, okay, I don't want to do all that work, I would recommend getting something like a cheap little microphone like this. This is called a Zoom microphone, and you can just record your own music, whether it's any instrument really. Just situate this close to your instrument, and record it, and then you can put it through your computer. It has a little USB port in here, and then you can just take files out and use it. Another way that a lot of people can use is their phone. Okay, so you can record with your phone. And this is if you don't want it to sound super special and professional. If you just want your own recordings and you want it to be simple, that is my recommendation. But I highly suggest that you practice your work until you're absolutely confident in playing it. So if you want access to a professional recording studio and you don't know where to look, my best recommendation is to go online and search up recording studios in Vancouver. And that's essentially what I did. And there's different price ranges. I spent about $600 on my recording, and that was my own preference. I wanted it to be as clean and pure of a recording as possible because I was recording a real acoustic piano. So it just depends on what you're looking for and what you want your audience to hear. So yeah, let's now get into talking with my producer of my work. So why don't you introduce to everyone about yourself?
I'm Chaucer Gilson. I'm a fourth year student at SFU doing music and sound, and I'm the producer on Leaf's album.
Okay, so what do you think is a producer's job in the role of music composition?
Well, a producer can take on many roles depending on genre or the style of music. A producer, for example, in hip-hop could be creating beats for an artist. A producer in another role, kind of like the role I took for Leaf's album, was conceptualizing and packaging the album as a whole, as well as creating physical copies of the album for Leaf and supporting him along in that process.
And what was your experience like when working on Girl in the Blue Dress?
It was an interesting one, working with an artist who isn't particularly familiar with what a producer does, or audio engineering and whatnot, what the work that goes into recording an album. So it was interesting to be able to teach someone from start to finish what the recording process is like and what it's like to release your music.
And what is a record label, and do you think it is important to have one if you want to help popularize your music?
A record label, again, is something like a producer. It takes on many shapes and forms. When people think record labels today, they think of like the big companies that just shell out money to all these big artists. Whereas on a smaller scale, what I like to think a record label can do for someone is work sort of as an umbrella. So with my record label, I really try to focus on releasing music done through the school and students from the school here at SFU. So that's really how I see a record label being valuable to somebody, is it being a shared outlet to release music, and one person's audience can become another person's audience, but they share that same umbrella, which for smaller artists can be a big boost.
Now that you have a couple of songs that you wrote and recorded, let's also say that you have gotten in touch with someone like a producer that can help you organize your work and get it out there. How do we even get our music out to an audience in the first place? So you can start with family and friends. You can decide if you want to sell your work or give it out for free depending on your goals. It is important to note that you want your music to be easily accessed by people, so starting off with a free version online, either on social media such as YouTube or Instagram, is highly recommended. You may need to also have some kind of symbol or artwork for your music, like an album cover. So here, I drew my own album cover. Sorry, it's upside down. Right here. So I had an idea a long time ago of what I wanted to draw for the artwork. So this is my front. I have an inner pamphlet art as well for like the CD. And I have the back, which is right here. So this is the back artwork, and the audio engineer and producer are labeled. And as well, I also have the cassette art as well, just over here. And so what I did is I drew all these, and this was my color I wanted. I wanted to be pure white and very simple. And I scanned it through a scanner, and then I had it printed. So basically how I got it to fit to size with these, for example, the pamphlets, and with the cassettes, is I went on a Google Docs and I created a template, and I tried to fit the pictures within that template, and then I printed them out at a printing shop. And I tried to use good quality paper to make it as professional as I could. And then, as you can see in here, is the information about the songs and the details about how they were composed, and also the audio engineer and producer's information, as well as the record label. So for me, through the help of my producer, I managed to post my work on YouTube and Bandcamp, which are pretty popular streaming sites. So that music is for people, and it's entirely free. And as mentioned before, I made CDs and cassettes, and I actually was charging people for that because of the amount of money and labor it went to make the physical copies of the work. So yes, there's all these expenses you have to be aware of, apart from the recording. If you're interested in making a CD or record, and you want to do it homemade style like I did, printing paper costs a lot of money, as well as the time and effort you put into your work. So, like mentioned before, having a record label is very good for getting your work out there. And yeah, I reached out to friends, I reached out to family, I shared links, I went on my social media, I shared my links, and I just asked people to share the music as much as they could, especially if they enjoyed it. So there's all these things you can do in this day and age that makes it so much easier, especially with social media. And yeah, just don't be afraid to let people know your work and what you're doing. I'm very sure that people are interested in new artists coming up. So yeah, just shoot your shot and try to put your work out there as much as you can. So, overall, what do you think music is to you?
Music to me is not only a creative outlet for myself to express myself, but is also an outlet to help people also express themselves in their work. And that shared bond of something everyone enjoys, and that community is really what I love to get out of music.
What is your best advice for someone who is interested in composing?
My best advice for someone trying to get into composing is to have an open mind. I think when I went into composition school, is that music is something and it is that thing. My idea of music was very much in a box. And going through school, I came to understand that music is so much more than that, and that's really created an outlet for my own music as well, breaking through that box. And for someone to get into composing is to break down all that expectation of what music is and just start writing music, just start making noise, making sound, and that at its core is what composition is. It's not this grand idea of mystique. It really is just making noise at whatever level and at whatever capacity. So my best advice is just to start making noise.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for listening and engaging in my teaching today. And I'd especially like to thank the Richmond Music School for hosting this event, and BC Culture Day for organizing this wonderful annual event. If you have any questions, I will be hosting a live Q&A Google Doc where you can write your questions and I'll answer them. If you're interested in listening to my work, I will also put a link of the YouTube video in the description below, and as well in the Google Doc, and the link for the Bandcamp as well in the Google Doc. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys were inspired by this video. Yeah, I hope everyone's day is going well, and yeah, keep making music.